Sun Wukong and the six-eared macaque are both incredibly interesting and incredibly hard to talk about. And I mean both of them as individuals and them as part of their friendship. And their friendship is worth mentioning here because it's the most mysterious part of the entire show. I mean, every other mystery in the show that has been around for this long, aka as far back as season 1, has, in some shape or form, been answered. Yet, we still don't know why their friendship is like that. It doesn't make sense that we know so little about them. That was until now, when it was revealed by the nine-headed demon, who I'll just call Nine, that Macaque and Wukong have a bigger number of forgotten memories.
That was quite a trick. That power. Who gave that to you? Who'd you make a deal with? A deal? It doesn't matter. Wukong, come on! We are old enemies! We're old friends, too! You just don't remember!
And this is not just a little, oh, they have a few forgotten memories, no biggie. No, we're talking about Wukong and Macaque here, two people whose memories about each other is so important that we barely know anything, yet we know it is one of the most important parts of the entire show. This is really important. So then, what does these forgotten memories tell us? About them, their friendship, their past, their future? Well, let's get into that. Starting with the part of their past that is shrouded the most in mystery and shadow. Their last fight. Wukong and Macaque's last fight is their point of no return, both for their friendship but also for themselves. For Wukong, it meant a part of his past that he wasn't that proud of was now a finished chapter, just not in the way he had probably hoped. And for Macaque, he died and lost his best friend, the person he trusted the most, in the process. Yet, as mentioned, we still know almost nothing about that fight, less than a minute actually. We have a few scenes from the Shadowplay episode, a longer scene from the Lady Bone Demon, which I'll get back to, and one new and almost completely black scene from the new season that was under 10 seconds long. And this got me thinking. We don't know what happened that day, but do they? Because if we do go back to those very few scenes we have, they actually keep contradicting each other. Just looking at LBD's version, you can already see something is wrong from how she shows it to how Wukong remembers it. In LBD's version of the fight, Macaque and Wukong both seem more aggressive and Wukong even looks kind of possessed. Meanwhile, in Wukong's version, we see, or mostly hear, Wukong calling out to Macaque, saying that he needs to stop, while Macaque is laughing like a maniac in the background.
Macaque, stop! Don't make me do this!
Which tells us that we must figure out which scenes are true and which are just what they tell themselves. We can immediately remove LBD's version of the fight, since she's also the one who made MK's fears seem bigger than they were. And we can also remove this one scene here from Macaque, since it's not a direct memory and we don't know if it's supposed to be symbolic or literal. Meaning that the only scenes we know for a fact are true are the ones that are almost completely dark, aka these ones. And we know these are true since the memory where Wukong attacks Macaque is the only thing they both remember, and the scene where Wukong is calling out to Macaque is also something we know, for certain, is a direct memory. Though I'm not saying that the other memories aren't real or can't at all be used, just that they aren't 100% correct. And as also mentioned by David Bren, who is a director for Monkie Kid, Macaque's idea that Wukong killed him is only the way he thinks it happened. As Chang said, there's always more to the story. And, realizing this, you start to see other parts of the show where we lack information even though we should know it. An excellent example of this is the lack of things we know for sure happened in Journey to the West in Monkie Kid, even though it's a show based on Journey to the West. And I know this might sound weird and also sound like a bit of a stretch, but when you start writing down an actual timeline from the start of Journey to the West to when DBK was sealed on the mountain, the last thing Wukong did before he disappeared, there is not a lot of things we can say for sure really did happen. And before you say it, no, we can't just go off the original Journey to the West because it has been proven by the show, several times in fact, that things didn't go exactly as it did in the original. Like with the 100-eyed demon. In Journey to the West, Wukong did know who he was because he was one of the villains. But in Monkie Kid, Wukong doesn't know who he is.
Emily?
No. What was that thing?
Therefore, this is the only things that we can say for sure happened. Tripitaka led Wukong out of the mountain, the other pilgrims joined them, Spider Queen, Yin and Jin, LBD, and maybe the Brotherhood was defeated. I say maybe to the Brotherhood because Wukong has those shining possessed looking eyes, as he also had in LBD's version of Macaque's staff, and it is also told by Asher, someone who has a lot of weird memories like Wukong and Macaque, so...
How is it you come to stand before me today, Azul? Was there a point where you questioned it? Or were you too oblivious with your own delusions to realize you are a mere piece in someone else's game?
Though again, like Macaque and Wukong, it probably did happen, but Asher's memories just aren't 100% correct. Then at some point, Journey to the West ends, which is then followed by the Samadhi Fire incident, since Wukong isn't wearing a circlet anymore. And finally, between this and DBK's entrapment, the pilgrims disappear or die or something. I theorize this because Wukong seems to be ending the chapters from his past, DBK being the last one, and Wukong disappears after this, with the next thing in the timeline being the pilot. And now you might ask, well, what about Macaque's staff? Doesn't that take place in Journey to the West? And to that I say, well, we don't actually know that. I mean, maybe it happened during Journey to the West, but again, we know so little from that fight that it could be literally anywhere on the timeline. So the only logical answer I can come up with at this point is that it happened while Wukong was trying to fix up everything he screwed up in his life, which I theorize to be after Journey to the West, because at that point, Wukong has, to some extent, dealt with his issues. But then something happened, and then whatever happened in the fight happened. And that's not even getting into when Macaque made the deal, which, based on the evidence I have, seemingly happened before Journey to the West, but after Macaque and Wukong became friends. And if you want an explanation to why I think this, go watch my previous video I made about Macaque's deal and who I am theorizing he made it with. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of memory stuff going on, both with Wukong and Macaque, Azure Lion, seemingly also the Pilgrims, which I'll get to, but also with MK and May. You see, in the episode Claim to Flame, there are a lot of setups. For example, with the Samadhi Fire and how we're shown that it is still important, which is something I will definitely talk about in another video. Yet, there's also another thing that happens that seems random until you connect it with the forgotten memory thing.
No. She left her phone.
Now, why is that important? Well, because when it was revealed, it was distinctly related to her and MK's friendship, with her background being of them. It basically boils down to Chekhov's gun, which is a narrative principle that states that you can only show the things that are important for the story, and if they aren't, they should be removed. Which tells us that this scene wasn't random at all, that there's actually a reason, an important reason, as to why the writers decided to tell us that May forgot her phone, and that is why this scene focuses such a good time on that point, and her very specific phone background. So, What does this scene show us then? Well, that there's going to be a focus on a friendship where someone forgot something. Which, if I were to perspect it back to where we started with our main candidate, Wukong and Macaque, it lines perfectly up with what we have seen has been going on with them for the past 1,000 or so years. And that makes sense when you think about how MK and May's friendship is now versus how Wukong and Macaque's friendship were when they were still friends. Now, let's start discussing another part of this whole memory thing, and probably the most important aspect of it. How did they lose their memories in the first place? Well, as I theorized, there's not one answer to that question, but two. The first one being the reveal of this cycle. A cycle that, it's worth mentioning, removes the memories of everyone that was in it before they go on to the next cycle. Which explains why 9 said that Wukong and him both had been enemies and friends, but he just couldn't remember. And this also makes sense, since this is a show based on an over 500-year-old Buddhist book, and therefore this is very clearly based on their concept of reincarnation and nirvana. This is though something I will talk about more in depth about in a future video though. So, let's move on to the next reason to why I believe that they lost their memories. Chaos. But that is simplifying it greatly, so I'll explain what I mean. First of all, the story so far has been about destiny and order, and why they aren't always going to be the answer, both with LBD in the start and MK's destiny now. But now we'll have to flip that question and instead ask, is chaos the answer then? I mean, everyone there has chaos powers now, so they're going to have to answer that question at some point. So, is having no control over the future or anything for that matter good? It's complicated? But philosophical questions aside, that I will answer in a bit, but very much simplified, I do believe that chaos, in this instance, can connect us back to the forgotten memories. I say this because this whole memory thing has been building up for a while now, and with 9 now confronting everyone with those memories, they can't keep ignoring it anymore. And since 9 is also connected to that same chaos that has also been building up for a while, there are some connections here between people's memories and chaos that are, in some way, connected. And don't worry, I brought a more concrete theory to explain why I think this. I want to talk about the pilgrims, more specifically, about what happened to them.
Oh, we're finally getting into it, huh? So, what do you think? I got some theories.
Because what if Macaque having chaos powers could have something to do with the pilgrims' memories and what happened to them? That if Wukong and Macaque's fight didn't necessarily happen during the journey to the west, but instead after the Samadhi fire incident, something could have happened there to the pilgrims. Let's say, for example, that Wukong and Macaque were fighting, with the pilgrims close by to help Wukong, but then Macaque attacked the pilgrims with his chaos powers, badly damaging them. And we don't know for sure how chaos powers work yet, so as far as we know, the chaos powers could have deleted their memories and left them in a coma of sorts for thousands of years, leaving everyone there to believe that they died, but they're actually still alive in some sense, yet with no memories of their past life, and are now in a noodle shop. Though I will say that this is only a smaller theory I made to make sense of how chaos and the forgotten memories are connected, but I hope you get the idea. But why am I saying that both destiny, aka reincarnation, and chaos are both at fault for this? Well, that is because it has been shown that neither sides are good. In this way, then, it would give us a more concrete example, a thing, aka a thing where they were both wrong, where neither of them made the right decision and both hurt many people in the process. And then it finally clicked for me as to why there's so many forgotten memories, as to why so many of our main characters have forgotten all these things, and to why this is such an important factor to the story. What I mean by this is that memories in Monkie Kid seems to be connected to power and control. Take 9 for example. He was shown to know basically every question and secret that we and the characters are currently asking ourselves. Then we got the other villain of this season, the 100-eyed demon, whose source of power is people's memories. And then we finally have Noah, who controlled the universe whilst keeping the primordial chaos under control by reforging the world again and again, and made sure it would happen again and again by deleting people's memories of their previous life each time. At this point, it doesn't matter if you're as strong as Wukong. What really matters is how much you know, or if your memories have been altered in one way or another. But what am I saying with this? Well, that we're going into a memory arc. More specifically, a memory arc about forgetting and what that can do to friendship, aka Macaque, Wukong, Mei, MK. Misunderstanding, friendship, chaos, what can that do? Is chaos all the answer, or is it the thing that is going to be their doom? I mean, at least before, even though they didn't know it, Destiny was, in some sense, saving them, or at least making sure that they were going to win, so MK could in the end jump into the pillar. But now they don't have that safety net. And would you look at that? That's the primordial chaos under those clouds. Suddenly not that guarded off, meaning chaos can start leaking into this world, and grow in people who weren't even aware of the chaos inside them. I mean, 9 did say that MK and the stones were from the primordial chaos, and now MK's staff is glitching with chaos powers because there isn't a destiny told that chaos off, and everyone in the world now has chaos powers. Wukong and Macaque have lost some of their memories, the biggest one being from their last fight. A fight that is repeated again and again to be their point of no return, both for themselves and for their friendship. Yet we know very little about it, likely because they don't remember it very clearly themselves. Though they're not the only ones, since characters like the pilgrims are also mysteriously gone, even though they all should be immortal, and also characters like Azure and Mei and MK, who was starting to gain more and more similarities to Wukong and Macaque and how their friendship broke apart. Then there's also the fact that we know very little about almost the entirety of the Journey to the West, even though the show is based on it. And we also have a bunch of new villains like 9, the 100-eyed demon, and Noah, who all, in some shape or form, gain their powers from memories. Which then all connects us back to that we're going to have a memory arc that focuses on chaos, friendship, and misunderstanding. And how is that going to affect their world? Let's hope for the best.
Merry Christmas! Or I guess 22nd of December, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a good day anyway. This was a really weird video to make, since I didn't plan to talk about the forgotten memories. But then, a lot of people in my last videos were like, yo, what about the forgotten memories? And I was like, well, then I guess I can try and theorize about it. And then it actually ended up working out, so thanks for that! If you have any of your own theories, you can comment down below or add me on any of my social media accounts if you want to share them with me. I would love to hear them, and I really like reading your theories. Just be nice about it. The next video will be about MK's mental health, so that's gonna be fun. And if you've been wondering where I've been, I realized I was a boy. And finally, the drawing you saw throughout the video was made for a dear friend of mine, so if that friend is watching, I hope you liked it. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and if you like the video, and I will see you later.